Hey everybody, it's Nate from Adventure in a Backpack. This video is going to be about building and installing cabinets in our DIY camper van. If you've been following along with our how-tos and tutorials so far, you'll notice that this one is already a little bit different as the intro video to this video. Everything's already done. And two reasons for that. First reason is we can't find the video that we started before the build. So that's the first reason. But the second reason is building cabinets was so involved, and so there's so many technicalities and all that kind of stuff. It was a very involved, complicated process that spanned like 2 to 3 weeks. Lots of trial and error on our part, as we are not cabinet makers. So we didn't feel like we didn't feel like doing a how-to or a tutorial on how to build cabinets was going to be beneficial for really anybody because of our lack of experience in it. I didn't feel comfortable with trying to teach somebody something that I didn't really know how to do. So a lot of trial and error on our part, but what I did do for this video, because I did want to spark some inspiration, maybe give a little bit of I think inspiration is going to be the best word for that, for your own build. So it's going to be just a time lapse, about 10 to 15 minutes long, and I'm going to have a voiceover, and we're going to talk about all the pieces. But I do want to talk about kind of our methodology for how we did build it. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So this is essentially our bathroom with a composting toilet in it, shelves throughout. This is one unit here. Oh, sorry, Steph's. I'm going too fast. Okay. This is one unit here. So this top part right here, down to this cabinet, down to this line. So that is one unit. This down this way is one unit. And all these are connected together. This is one unit. We'll call this our kitchen unit. And then this is one unit. Basically our coffee maker unit. So whenever we're doing the time lapse and I'm referencing everything, it'll be kitchen, whatever, kitchen unit, kitchen cabinet, coffee maker cabinet, bathroom, wardrobe, and then storage unit. So I think really that's all I have to say about that. So
there's two more in the back.
Oh, right. Yep. So we have two storages in the back that you'll see now and at the end. So two more storage units. We'll call this the bedroom chest, and then the bedroom overhead storage. Fantastic. Okay, day one of building cabinets. So the first cabinet we started out with was the kitchen cabinet, where our refrigerator sits and our sink was going to sit. We wanted all of these cabinets to be, pretty similar for the most part to what they would be in a house. So we did install like everything on basically have a little bit of kick plate on the bottom spot. So on these cabinets, like I mentioned in the intro, we're not cabinet makers, and so I'm likely going to use some incorrect terminology on this voiceover. But that's okay. Feel free to correct me in the comments, but I'm just calling it the best thing I can do for now. All of these cabinets were built with 1/2-inch plywood, and the faces were built with 1x2s. So what we're building here is actually the first round of the coffee maker cabinet. So what you're seeing here is us actually making the only piece that we ended up having to basically throw away. So you see that we made the curved piece on the back out of 1/2-inch plywood, which is totally not a good idea because basically it pulled the entire cabinet out of square once we made it, and it was impossible to get back square. So that was the one piece that we really royally screwed up on and had to throw away. You can kind of see it right now. It's kind of sitting a little weird on the table. It's kind of bending side to side, and yeah, just totally not a good way to do that. But we ended up rebuilding it, and the way we ended up rebuilding it was replacing the back part of the cabinet where it's curved, basically the wall, with what we made the walls out of, that dry erase board, and that worked way better. So what we're building now is essentially the bathroom area. So the bathroom area was the only one that we built kind of in the van. So we actually put the boards in there, and then we went ahead and tacked them into place, and then bolted them to the furring strips, and then also through the rails. So this particular piece was the bottom side of was the entire side of the wardrobe as well as the storage area. We kind of sort of built them as one piece initially, as far as to get the curve for the outside of the walls, and then we basically split them in half. That way we could have two modular pieces. That way we could actually get them into the van. This is going back to the original coffee piece. You can see how bent that is if you look really carefully. It's yeah, we're still working on it, and you kind of see us sitting on the table occasionally, and it's one of those things we're trying to figure out how to make it work. Lots of drawing on dry erase boards to make it fit, and yeah, overall, honestly, just a big waste of time. So this piece we're working on now is actually the bottom storage unit on the driver's side. And then that piece that's on the table now is the wardrobe area. All right, this is the start of remaking basically the coffee cabinet. Pretty much at this point, we decided the other one's a loss, and trying to disassemble and reuse any pieces was a lost cause. And so we essentially just remade the coffee cabinet, if you will. So basically, we got everything built, and now we're just kind of test fitting it into the van. Make sure it all fits and everything like that. After that, we pulled everything back out and did some of the final steps. Right now, what I'm working on is making the drawer slides. So we wanted 3 drawers in this particular cabinet, and so we had to make some reinforcement braces for the drawer slides. Drawer slides is one of the more, I think, more detail-oriented parts of the whole build, because you have to be within 1/8 of an inch of clearance in order for it to slide out properly. All of our cabinets are held together with wood glue and then finish nails, and obviously clamped together. You see we're using ratchet straps to hold everything together. We did eventually buy some bigger wood clamps, as the ratchet straps weren't working very well. They were working enough, but the clamps actually made it way better. So once we got it all built, it was time to move on to the painting. We laid, I believe, 2 coats of just primer, white primer, and then covered it up with our color of choice. Sanding in between every coat, and I think we ended up putting 3 coats of paint on all of the surfaces. So right now we are actually working on drawers. The drawers were not too bad. I think we only messed up on 1 drawer that we had to basically scrap and cut apart and make it smaller. Essentially, you have to. It's just one of those detail pieces that you need to read the instructions. What we ended up doing on making the drawers is, I would make measurements and Stephanie would make measurements. We would do it totally independent of each other, and then we would compare our measurements. And if we were off, then we could kind of discuss and see why we were off. And if we were on, then we would go with it. I think there was only one time that we both agreed that on the measurement, and we both were both on the same page, but it still didn't fit. So, but that's okay. Working as a team like that, then it's one of those things that there's really no way to blame each other for that. You if you both mess up equally, it's just one of those things. You just have to find a way to fix it and come through that little bit of a hardship, if you will. It was really fun working on this project because we did mess up, but the thing about making your own stuff, making your own cabinets, making your own camper van, since you're making it, you can fix it. That's ultimately the idea. It's there's one of those things you can't really blame other things, lack of instructions or anything, because there's no instructions. You're doing it yourself, and you have to kind of figure it out as you go along. And it's a bit of a mind game, and it was really fun because it is problem solving. It's like a huge puzzle. It's never a good sign when you see me get out the hammer and lay the weights inside of a bucket. That was the drawer that we had to end up tearing apart because it was the wrong side. I had to stand in the bucket, and because we had the measurements right on some of the pieces, it was just a little too wide. So we basically disassembled that particular drawer and just made it a little narrower so it would fit properly. So in the kitchen cabinet, that's where we installed our ARB refrigerator. It came with a nice slide that we were able to use, and it's pretty straightforward, honestly. One thing to note on that is the particular slide we got. If you make it like you're seeing here, you can't open the door of the refrigerator all the way up. Apparently, there's an extended slide, and if you're trying to make it exactly how you just saw us make it, the extended slide would be a good choice, but it's okay. We ended up kind of making making a few adjustments on that, and we were able to get the door to where it worked proper enough for our purposes. Okay, once everything was painted, it was pretty much straightforward from there. We just needed to put everything into place and then get it secured down. We were having to do a little bit of wiring and stuff, at the same time as installing the cabinets, as all of our wiring is outside of the walls but tucked in behind the cabinets, which we'll talk about that in the solar and wiring video. So we are installing a composting toilet in the van, and we wanted it to be basically a hideaway toilet. So it's going to be on a drawer slide that is in the bathroom area, and it's just going to slide out whenever we need to use it. So right now we are working on the bed area. So the bed is going to be elevated. If you've seen any of the other camper van builds, there's people who do the same thing that we do. We like to have some storage for bikes and paddle boards and climbing gear and all that kind of stuff underneath the bed. So we installed the bed raised up about 30 to 35 inches, and that's where our bed sits, and so we can have space to put bikes and climbing gear and all of our adventure gear underneath. That area underneath is also where all of our solar panel equipment, like our solar controller, is going to go. What you're seeing there is the springs for the bed, and those are actually, you can get those at IKEA, or you can just find them on Amazon. I think Amazon is actually where we got those. So you get a little sneak preview of the lighting that we put in there. That's kind of going to be covered more in the electrical section, but I thought it was good you see it in the final product, so just a quick little view over there is perfect. So what we're working on here is we're working on the bedroom chest. We had a little bit of spare room in the bedroom area, and so we're like, oh, this would be a good spot to put some clothes, and just general storage. Storage is always a good thing, so we felt like that was going to be a good use of space there. So what we were working on now is the overhead storage compartment. That's just it's going to be more of a shelf than it is a storage compartment. It's going to be a shelf that gets canvas box tote type storage up on it. So what you're seeing here is where we initially had the area for the solar controller on the left. That's what we had to cut that out because that's what was not allowing the refrigerator door to come all the way up. So we just relocated it to the other side of the kitchen cabinet. Not too big of a deal, but still worth noting. Right now, I believe we are cutting the doors for all of the cabinets, the doors for the cabinets as well as the drawer faces. So once you have all the doors and drawers cut to size, it's time to paint them. The way we did this is we ended up painting all of the backs and the sides in the garage, and then we installed them and then painted the outsides of the doors. That way we could kind of minimize, handling and everything like that, minimize the touch-up work needed at the end. We think that was a good way to do that. I think if we were to do it all again, I think we would pretty much do it the same way. So all of the doors and the drawers are like soft close hinges as well as soft close drawer slides. Something we didn't put in before we took it for a test drive is magnetic door closers. That's a necessity. Even though the hinges help close the door a little bit and help hold it closed, it's not quite all the way. So we installed all of the handles as appropriate, and this is how it turned out. The countertop should sit right on top, glued down and screwed to the framing, and we are pretty happy with how it turned out. So that's really the extent of this. Please leave your comments and your questions below. I can answer questions better than I can actually talk through all of this. So I look forward to answering some questions and hearing some feedback and all that stuff. So until our next video, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe.